Hello. Thanks for the, obviously, as you said, it's a final session, okay? So let's make it more entertaining and very quick also, okay? Because a few people have to catch the flight also, okay? So they want to take the flights. So let's start the session by a quick introduction about each of the panel members. Start with the Samit, please.
Hi, good evening everyone, and good evening audience. My name is Samit Shetty. I was on the stage some time back, so you guys must have heard me already. So I'm the technical solution specialist with the Autodesk Media and Entertainment division in India. Take care of all the technicalities, solutioning, the pre-sales for all the customers based out of India and SAARC. And yeah, have been into production before I joined Autodesk. It's been a great journey, and it's it's always good to work with all these big studios across the country and abroad. Get to learn new things because we are all learning always and every time. And with the technology which is evolving day in, day out, it's even more challenging, but yeah, it's fun. And thanks VAM, Animation Express and VAM Summit for this opportunity to bring every one of us on this table. Thank you.
Thanks, Abid. Alan, if you can give a quick, as you say, I don't say even hello in 10 minutes. I think it's open.
So, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Thank you for the welcome to the forum here. My name's Alan from Disk Archive Corporation, co-founder. 15 years ago, we gave birth to a product which at the time was seen as a revolutionary alternative to LTO. That product is now a stroppy teenager, growing rapidly and taking an important role in the enterprise storage scene and more recently in the production part of the industry.
Thanks, Alan. Rohit, if you can just add
ourselves. Yeah. So I'm Rohit Sharma, part of Micron, taking care of pre-sales for India as well as SAARC region. Pretty much in the last 2 decades, I have worked with HCL Tech, HSBC, 3Power, HP, all the storage organizations, primarily the server, the IT infrastructure kind of organizations. And I'm thrilled to be part of this team.
Thanks. Hi, Krish.
Hi, good evening, everybody, and it's great to be on a panel with such a diverse group of people, and thanks for having us. But I'm Chris Jestico. I'm the managing director of Goodbye Kansas. We're over here in our collaboration with VFX Vala, starting up GBK India. But I'm a massive technology fan and a big virtual production patron. So I'm excited to be a part of this conversation about innovation moving forward.
I have seen your reel in the morning, and it was amazing. Congratulations for that. And you are now in India with VFX. Looking forward for that also. Yeah. So we have a very balanced panel, okay, to discuss innovation in post-production, which starts from you can say, from heart and brains, both are there. So from the Goodbye Cans, Krish is here, and I have the creator is also here, the softwares and the champions in that, Autodesk, Samit is here, Alan, who takes care of whatever we create, the storage and securities and other stuff. Okay, so that's Alan is there. And I was wondering, when I met with Rohit, what will Rohit add on that? Okay, so I want to start with Rohit, because Rohit is from the semiconductor. Okay, the first time on the panel, I just thought VFX and semiconductor. What's innovation adding your company, Micron, to that?
Yeah, I mean, from an innovation standpoint perspective, the most fundamental changes we are adding to the industry. From that perspective, whether you are doing an image rendering, or you are working on a 1-minute video, or you are creating a full-scale movie, the kind of scale that was there earlier and the scale that is now has increased a lot. That scale has moved from gigabytes to terabytes. Terabytes is moving to petabytes, and soon we'll be talking about exabytes. Now, how all this scale can be handled? While at the most fundamental level, Micron as a semiconductor company, we are creating that thing in which you can store the memory as well as the storage that will hold your data. The crux of the entire AI or all the innovations that is happening around the entire industry is data, and that data resides on all these chips that we create. And those chips, like if you had attended my earlier session, you would have seen that we are moving from 176 layer 3D NAND to 32 layer 3D NAND, and later on we'll add to almost 300 kind of layer 3D NAND. All that is allowing you to scale. And that with more scale, once you're moving from gigabytes to terabytes, you need to add performance. And that performance, because you need to cater to multiple different formats, multiple different devices, you need performance as well. It's not just you're scaling, you should scale at the same performance level as well. So we are adding much more performance into that as well. So from the same infrastructure at much cheaper cost and much more power efficient, space efficient, cooling, because the chip that we are creating, at each iteration, we make it power efficient, less space consuming, 30% less die size we create, because the real estate is most important in this. So anything you do, whether you're doing at a software level or at a animation level, everything boils down to the fact that the hardware should be able to support it, and we power that innovation.
Nice, thanks. So I think the next, it's a natural question to Samit, okay? Like because obviously this is a semiconductor thing that he's saying, like it's a efficiency and other things is getting increased. Okay, so how Autodesk is Autodesk also using this innovation, and how this innovation is actually helping you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a marriage between software and hardware always. Like we've had softwares earlier developed, but if the hardwares are not efficient enough, there's no point in pushing these softwares.
Right.
But the only thing is, we always blame the softwares that, hey, this software is crashing, this is not stable, and things like that. But we've been innovating our softwares based on the compatibility of hardwares from ages. Like recently, like not recently, we acquired this tool called as Arnold, which is a renderer, and which was, when we acquired it, it was a CPU based render only, and then we made it GPU compatible. But again, we worked very closely with NVIDIA. We still work very closely with NVIDIA to get the exact power and technology of NVIDIA, so that the rendering becomes more GPU centric and CPU centric both at the same time. So I think various aspects of software depends on the hardware capabilities also.
I think now the next question is for Krish, okay, because obviously they told like they are the hardware guys, and the software guys are also doing the innovation, okay, to make things more efficient for the post-production and the VFX. Are you really think like these are the guys who are actually pushing the boundaries? Are like, what's your take on this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're a team, right? All of us together in finding better solutions for the filmmakers and for us to tell the stories that we need to. And as we progress, as humanity progresses, we want to keep improving, and that requires both us to think creatively about how we use the tools, and for the ability to use the tools in the right way, because they're powerful enough to drive that innovation. And of course, we're going to talk a little bit about real-time rendering, and we're going to talk a little bit about AI on this panel. And all of those elements come from having better, faster computing power, better software to run that, run those algorithms, and get us to the point where we can work collaboratively with the craft and with storytellers. I mean, these guys are as much a part of telling that story as we are on set with the DOPs virtually, in my opinion.
So, in these situations, like when people are working from home and all this kind of like a pandemic eras and all, okay, so I think this technology and the innovation helped the studios like you and us, okay, to deliver a good stuff.
Yeah, totally. In moments of desperation, people come together, right? When there's a war, technology comes through, and when there's a pandemic, we rely on technology to help us continue to develop in the same way. And you know what? In some ways, the pandemic opened up a lot of doors for the visual effects industry. All of a sudden, we were able to work from home as well as from the office. The work-life balance. I mean, obviously a very turbulent moment. But what came out of that was a lot of trust from the studios about how we were protecting their data, how we were ensuring that the security of their data, which I think we'll talk about a little bit as well. So in these moments of great despair comes great innovation, I think.
Right. So now the question is for you, Alan. Because obviously we all are generating so much of data, okay, about the data storage and the security. So how the innovation in 2024 and how you are helping we all of, if you can.
Yes, well, our remit really is to protect and preserve the valuable content that you guys create, which typically is short in duration and very high value. So it has to be protected for monetization reasons. But we also get the privilege of protecting long-form content, episodes which may be somewhat uninspiring creatively, but necessarily must be preserved for monetization, and ultimately cultural content, which, you know, a lot of the content that we preserve, film content, doesn't have any VFX in it. It might be from the Napoleonic era. It might have no monetary value, but it has huge cultural value to governments around the world. So we get the privilege of storing very large film archives, hundreds of petabytes. And not only very large, which is a technology challenge, one that we've addressed in our product over a 15-year evolution, but we have to do this with an eye to the lifetime cost of ownership. Because unlike a lot of fast-moving technology, we have to be around for not 3, 4, 5 years and then we be consigned to the technology refresh bin. We have to be around for 10, 20, 30 years with a totally different mindset geared towards long-term preservation at an affordable price. And those really are the challenges that our product addresses. We've been doing that for many years. Initially, 100% television. More recently, half of our business was film preservation. And more recently again, a third of our business is preserving other kinds of assets, which share a lot in common with digital film. But for example, it might be a radiology image, an X-ray or a CT scan, or it might be an image from an electron microscope. Those things, you know, we think we deal in the media industry with big files, but for an archive company, big files are a delight. Small files are a big challenge. This is counterintuitive, but when it comes to medical images, we're quite commonly talking about 1 terabyte for one image, just one image. And if we then move on to genomic sequences, we're probably talking 500 terabytes, half a petabyte for one genomic sequence. So globally, the appetite for generating new data is truly vast, and it's a substantial challenge, one that, from a preservation sense, we have to safeguard your content, not just against loss of files. I'm sure there'll be many people in this room who've lost content on, I won't mention the type, but on data tapes, or may have lost in the past data on hard drives. Not allowed in our industry. So we have to have total security. And so these are the challenges that we face. Our product has done that over the years, developing nicely. We serve all kinds of markets where there is a need for preservation of very high value, very large images. And this is our sole focus.
Yeah, thanks, Alan. So I think you mentioned one of the things, 1 terabyte, one image for this, what do you call?
From a
medical images. Okay.
Yeah,
the microscopic images.
Yes, from an electron microscope. Yeah,
so
it's very common for 1 petabyte per image in cytology, cancer research, for example.
I think Chris and we always worked on the like a terabyte things, but on the shots, not on the single image. It's a too huge size. Okay, so medical guys are actually utilizing more than looks like a VFX.
But if I could just add to that, everybody knows intuitively that nobody wants to lose any files. But today's challenge, especially, you know, good things happen during the pandemic as well as bad things. But one of the things that has happened, and there is definitely a risk that, you know, the audience today should be aware of, and that is when vendors decide to drop out of the marketplace. And this is a warning shot to be very careful about vendor-specific storage solutions, because your years of good work and your valuable archive can be prejudiced if a single vendor drops out of the marketplace. So I would just say, whether you take a liking to our product or not, watch out for monopolies, watch out for duopolies, watch out for proprietary technologies, and watch out for licenses. And we chose on day one, 15 years ago, to abolish all of those because the archive industry had traditionally suffered from all those characteristics. So that's my lesson for today, is watch out for proprietary technologies, because an overnight decision on the part of a vendor can put your archive at prejudice.
Right, right. So I think technology is one of the things which is actually bringing innovation, okay, for all of us. Now the thing is like, obviously, elephant in the room, like everyone is talking about AI, okay, and the ML, like, because obviously whenever you talk about innovation, this is the two words in 2024 everyone is talking about, whether it's reducing the file size, whether it is about the creative software solutions. So I just want to know that, like, is it innovation is coming through that, and are we going to only stick to that ML and AI? Because as you mentioned, that your semiconductors and like CPU and GPU kind of a things, okay, they are required to do this big data learnings and all. So what's how innovation is helping this AI and other things?
Absolutely. I mean, the way initially things were done, the way creativity was being done earlier, that can be increased by leaps and bounds. I mean, now you can do the same kind of work in an exponential manner. Kind of what you were taking earlier days to do, that possibly now you can do in hours, and possibly whatever in hours now you can do in minutes. All that is possible because once you are creating some, you are thinking about some creative video to be created. Once you go to Sora, just you can create a text to video kind of a video in a minute kind of video, and that can add to your creativity.
So here we require your semiconductors.
Yes, absolutely.
And the kind of a data that we are generating, okay, it need to be stored somewhere. Right. Okay, and then Alan, your company is a champion in doing that. How AI? What is your take on AI? Is it adding some innovation to the post-production?
We, as usual, we have a slightly different perspective on AI. And the archive industry and the media industry needs to really think through both the benefits, which are always easy to and exciting to absorb, but also some downsides that each of these innovations brings. So on the plus side, if we're talking to a content owner who might have 1 million videotapes, digital or analog, to be digitized, of course, fantastic opportunity for our company. We would love to be the guardian of 1 million videotapes in a TV station somewhere, and we'll look after them forever. But the challenge is we have to find a way to make it affordable and practical to digitize those assets before they go off to wherever artificial intelligence participants train their AI to work on those assets. So we have a positive opportunity, which is to digitize vast quantities of content that the AI companies have a huge appetite and are willing to pay for in order to train AI systems. So that's a business opportunity for anyone who owns a large sports archive, for example, or a large program archive. They will pay a significant amount to use your content briefly and then give it back to you. And that charge for AI training is sufficient to pay for the digitization. So in that sense, we love AI. In the perhaps not so constructive way, there's a concern in the industry that AI can be used maliciously, in particular fakery and all kinds of abuse that can happen between the day content is captured and the day it filters out of the end of an archive. Bad things can happen. So this whole AI concept has triggered a consortium in the industry to establish in the camera head the provenance of the content that you're capturing. And at every stage, whether you make a subclip, whether you make a special effects, whether you use a frame of video, every frame of material, film or video, within the next few years will need to be catalogued and added to a manifest, as they call it, so that at any point we can do a comparison. In the old days, we used to talk about MD5 checksums to ensure that files had technical integrity. Now we're talking about provenance integrity. And so this is another whole raft of metadata, the manifest, which is continually growing every time one of your frames of film or one of your files of video is being repurposed. Because as well as good things happening, bad things can happen. So yeah, we take a mixed view of it.
So
it's
Alan,
an opportunity and a threat.
Yeah, I think we need more storage in future than now, because everyone is going to create like in a minutes that you are trying to generate so many videos and images which used to take hours or days. Okay, now people are generating every single minutes, like whether it's a Midjourney or ChatGPT or DALL-E, whatever, and now the Sora is coming. So now in this, Krish, what do you think, where we are heading as a creatives? Because obviously these are from the side where they are manufacturers of all this kind of softwares and all. But as a creative world, what is your take on the AI and ML?
I mean, I think where we're heading is inevitable. I mean, hopefully we don't end up as battery-powered, human beings for the machines with a scorched sun. But I think the truth is, as the hardware gets better, it's inevitable that we're going to continue to progress technology, and that it's going to open new doors for us, and certainly AI, machine learning is opening new doors for us. I think we just need to tread very carefully, coming from a creative standpoint. There's an ethical use for the tool, and it is a tool, and how we go about using it should obviously be to optimize our workflows like we're doing at Goodbye Kansas, how to query our own databases and our own libraries of performance capture data, for example, or other things to streamline the process. But I think where we need to be very wary until there's standardization in place is how we creatively can use it to conjure imagery, because it's canvassing a lot of data sets that they're not acknowledging the owners or the proprietors of that data. And we're going to need to be really careful, because there's some great artists out there, some great work that people are creating. The press of a few buttons and a couple of prompts, we are basing our new creative vision on. And I think it's important that we acknowledge that there's a long way to go to get to a decent ethical point with these tools before we start using them in certain ways. But of course, the future is very bright, and I'm excited to find out how we can use those tools to collaborate better. Because ultimately, it's all about the collaboration, how we can enable someone to come up with an idea and communicate to someone else very quickly, this is the direction I want to go in. How can we pre-visualize moments and work together as a team to tell a story and create something? And again, that is only possible from improving hardware and getting that quicker feedback on iterations, using technology.
Right. I think it's an amazing insight on that. Like obviously the feedbacks and the kind of waste of the human talent. Okay, but the question comes, Samit, because you guys are also adding a lot of AI in your software. Like Autodesk is actually adding the most of the thing. Okay, obviously it is also helping the artist, but also it's taking lots of jobs also out of the system. Okay, so this innovation has to bring more jobs in the system, rather it should take away the jobs. So what do you think? Obviously we all know, when computers came, people thought okay, now there will be no jobs, but now it created more jobs rather. So how you think?
Well, I mean, this is very common fear between everyone, that AI is going to take everyone's job. But okay, let's consider our industry. Aashish, you've been working for so many years. We've been working for so many years. Certain things have not changed, which is the client's deadline. Right. They always come at the end and say, I just have 15 days, 1 month, 2 months to do this heavy project. Don't you think AI will make it easier for all the artists to deliver on time? Forget about losing jobs, right? Artists can go home early, spend some time with family, come back fresh next day, and start the project. So I think it's just the fear, but we've seen people using AI. In the last 2 days, a lot of people have said that we used AI for this shot, that shot. Nobody's lost jobs. They've got another project immediately because they finished the previous project and they can pitch for another and so on. The content industry is also growing. I mean, there's lots of ups and downs are always there.
Can I just jump in
Yep.
and say that, the other thing as well is the content needs to be continuously created by human activity, human minds. Otherwise, after a while, we're servicing the same data set. The machine learning goes to a certain point where it's regurgitating itself. And at that point, all media is going bland. There's in certain cinema geographical locations, it's already becoming bland.
Right.
And I think it's important that in Indian cinema that we're progressing the creative forward, and we're not just regurgitating imagery or content that already exists. So I think that humanity plays a role forevermore, and hopefully that preserves some jobs.
And also, we've been, innovations in tools and softwares have been always there. We used to call it as new features to make things faster. I don't know, suddenly this AI thing has come in and everyone is like, this is AI going to take your job. This is AI going to take your job. Consider this as new tool, faster tool, advanced tool. Maybe I think we'll be more happy.
Obviously, we are heading towards the end and need to conclude this. But there is a very alarming questions that we are discussing right now. Whatever we have, whatever the semiconductors or maybe the storage, the new innovation is coming in and all. So it's also creating a issue of a sustainability kind of a thing. What will happen to the old machines? How, the new machines will come. Okay, so it's a waste. We are creating a big waste also. Okay, so this is a question to you, Rohit. What's the answer for that? And also, Alan.
Yeah, from a sustainability perspective, whenever new technology is created, primarily it is thought that from the last technology that we had, how much less carbon footprint we will be now creating with this particular new technology. So it will save a lot of space, it should consume less power. Once it is consuming less power, less cooling will be required, less CO2 in the atmosphere. All that benefits will keep on adding. And
so any innovation in your company that you are trying to, how this old things can be reused or repurposed or something like that?
Yeah, the next technology, once we move from 176 layer to 232 layer 3D NAND, that die size is 30% smaller, it is using 30% less power. Because of that, using less power, less cooling would be required. In a laptop or a desktop that you are using, the kind of drives that we are now making, mostly in the client side, not on the enterprise side as of now, but they are using device sleep. They are utilizing just 2 milliwatt or 3 milliwatt kind of power. So all that power saving is going. Once that power saving is there, once it translates to the enterprise side as well, with lesser power, lesser cooling will be required. All that will add on to the sustainability factor from an overall perspective in a data center. And data centers are power guzzlers. The kind of power an entire city can take, similar power just one data center can take. Which is why to create a data center, you'll first have to think about power. And most of the cloud service providers in India and worldwide, they first think about creating a power source for themselves. Then only they start thinking about creating their own data center. So that big a problem is power.
So you are blaming Alan on that for that? Alan, can you answer that? How your company is reducing this carbon footprint, or are you doing some innovation around it to reduce this waste, e-waste?
Space, yes.
Are you reducing the size of the machines or something like that?
We're increasing the density. And we can do that because traditional forms of disk-based storage dissipate 10 watts of power for every disk drive. We use a lot of disk drives. And in an IT context, usually they would be guaranteed for 3, 4, 5 years. They may be replaced 5 times during the life expectation of a large media archive. So what we are doing to improve the green credentials of our product is we make those disk drives. By the way, a very straightforward but quite clever, unique way that we use them, we give disk drives a life of currently 15 years. We claim 15 years, unlike some vendors who claim 50 years, but we all know none of us are going to be around to be accountable. We've been around for 15 years, and we have disk drives by the hundreds working in the field that are still working with disk drives 15 years old. That has avoided at least 3 replacement cycles, which is good for the budget, good for the media, and good for the planet. Yeah. So that's technique number 1. The fundamental concept that we're exploiting here is what's now become known, We did things 15 years ago, and 15 years later, people invent terminology to describe what it was we did. Now people say, oh, it's a spin on demand. Okay. So when you want to restore a file, we only spin one disk. We don't spin 60 in every module, dissipating kilowatts and kilowatts and kilowatts of power. So our mantra is to reduce the power, and today it stands at just over 200 watts of electricity per petabyte of storage. It's incredibly green, which is good for the budget and good for the planet. So, and you know, I didn't bring it up, but one of the ethical downsides of artificial intelligence is the power consumption in data centers has rocketed since artificial intelligence came along because of all the training. You know, artificial intelligence has to learn from something. So there are more and more servers than ever before pushing up truly vast amounts of power that are dissipated from data centers. This is two separate agendas really, but you know, our box is characteristically yellow, but it's the greenest archive on the planet. And that's really what we're pushing for.
Yeah, so I think we are only 15 seconds left. Okay, I can take only one question to the Samit. Because everyone is throwing their machines because your softwares are not working on the previous version. Okay, so can innovation help on that? Because obviously whenever you upgrade your softwares, okay, it's like okay, this model is not feasible. So can innovation help on that, and we can save the planet for more years?
I think this goes back to our first question about hardware upgrades and new innovation on hardwares. So till the time you keep upgrading hardwares and bringing new technology in the hardwares, the softwares will, I mean, it's a cycle. If you want, you can still work with the older version of the software and on the older version of the hardware. Why would you want to upgrade is to get things faster, get things smoother and things like that. Like, you know, you don't want the softwares to hang, and I mean, I have no...
But I think like, obviously, when you talk about the planet, okay, sustainability thing, okay, we all should think about it, how we can reduce the things.
Yeah. You know what, I think the fact that we're on a stage as business leaders talking about sustainability is really important in the first place.
Everyone should think about it.
Yeah, it's the awareness, it's about engaging with other companies that are aware about it, it's having the conversation, it's talking to your employees about right to work schemes, it's about thinking about having a paperless kind of trail it's every single bit from waste management all the way through to disk space and power management. But the most important thing is that we're all aware of it and that we're all engaging in business with other people who are aware of it. And I think that's really important that you brought it up today. And just the final thing I kind of wanted to say, I think for all of us on innovation in the VFX industry in cinema is that the real innovation for us, and I think a lot of people touched on virtual production and real-time work and other things, is that we're actually finding new ways for technology to bring us all together to create a better way of generating, you know, these entertainment products for people to enjoy. And the innovation in the future is how can we bring parties closer together to talk about how we can work across different platforms in different geographical locations, in different environmental places that the world is in, to make the best stories for the people, you know, and for the rest of everyone who wants to enjoy it, you know.
I think this is the concluding line of the session. Like collaboration is a new innovation. Okay, and this panel thinks like that. Like, and I think let's close this session now. And I don't think that we have a time for the.
I think
questions.
I don't look good not on screen, on stage. That's why you all are like, guys, hurry up in finishing the sessions. But yes, thank you so much. It was such insightful session from all of you guys. And I was looking at your expression, the same expression I give when I'm at your chair as a moderator. So yes, thank you once again,
Thank you so
gentlemen.
much. Thank you so much. I don't think that we have time for the
Questions? Offline, we can take the questions.
Yeah.
We have plenty of time offline.
Done. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.